Hey guys, new week of astrology, and this week we actually are getting a bit of a break energetically for a couple different reasons. Number one, we have planets exiting harsh aspect to Saturn, which has defined a lot of what we've been dealing with over the course of this past week. Both Jupiter and the Sun are moving out of their square in opposition to Saturn as we enter our week this week. And we also just don't really have that much going on, especially when we look at all that we have had play out this first week of September. Moving into the second week, we're definitely sort of like in a pause. We're getting a bit of a break. There's just not that many transits that are actually going on. Most prominently, Mercury on Monday will leave Leo, enter Virgo, so bring a bit of an energetic shift. The Sun's also in Virgo right now as well, so we're gonna get an opportunity for things to sort of clear up a little bit. Get back on track, get reorganized, details, facts, information, processing information, coming to conclusions, making choices and decisions that are moving us forward. This is sort of where we're at and geared in the energy of this week. We also have a Sun-Jupiter square that's going to go on Thursday, and we'll talk about that. And the only other thing we really have playing out, aside from like the moon making aspects, which is always going on, is Mars squaring the nodes. So that could bring up sort of a bit of a critical turning point as well as we head towards the weekend. But as we start the week, all the emphasis is definitely on Mercury, messages, information, communication, what we've learned, and the choices and decisions that we are going to make next. So that being said, let's get into our report of the day. Let's connect all the dots and put all the pieces together, try to figure out what's happening in our lives as all this plays out and we move through our week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, September 9th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So that'll be at the end. There could be some messages in there for you. We're starting at the beginning with the astrology, and as I just mentioned in my intro, I do think we're finally going to get a bit of a break this week energetically in terms of just all this simultaneous ongoing stuff that has been happening happening at once, a lot happening, like one thing after another. We've had a lot of major transits that went on last week in correspondence with our new moon in Virgo. If you guys have been following along, you know all about that. You know, Uranus station, Pluto re-entering Capricorn, Mars entered Cancer, like we had our new moon and a bunch of other stuff. We had an opposition happening between the Sun and Saturn. We've had a square between Jupiter and Saturn, and the lack of those things generally this week are what I feel like the difference is in terms of everything that was happening last week, and probably the, just not so much activity that's going on this week. Now, that being said, there's also a mercurial dominance that's happening this week. The planet Mercury is sort of the energetic emphasis, and we do have a square between the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo and Gemini, both of Mercury's signs. And Mercury, of course, is known for being a busy energy, lots of conversation, lots of information, lots of choices, decisions, forms, paperwork, like bills, like reorganize, like things getting reorganized, things getting back on track, things moving forward, things getting cleaned up, like busy energy, just an emphasis on the like informational, conversational, organizational realms of things. That's the direction that we're heading this week. And it makes sense because, with everything happening last week as it did, we need like a processing period, and I feel like that's what this is also. We're going to get a little bit of time to like mentally process perhaps maybe everything that we're coming out of right now, but also it is sort of just like a break or a pause because we are in eclipse season and we do have a full moon lunar eclipse that we're moving into next week. So next week is also likely to be quite an active time, especially in terms of these endings and transitions that are underway. Definitely like karmic reckonings could be coming through, and we are really closing out some significant cycles of time. All right, this next couple months is bringing up like cycles of time and experience that originated between like 2006 and 2008, and we'll be talking about that as we move through this report and, you know, as we move through these next couple of months. But between the nodes transit the eclipse, like the nodes and the eclipses transiting back into Pisces and Virgo, and between Pluto's culmination of his entire transit through the sign of Capricorn, like we haven't had that polarity of nodal transit since 2006, and we haven't had and that was also 2008. That's when the Pluto Capricorn transit began. So we're closing out periods of time and cycles of energetic ongoings that originated, maybe began right around then. And I find it to be a little bit funny because I personally began a journey through the underworld that started in 2006 that I'm just coming out of right now too. It's interesting how it's all working out, but some of you other wonderful people out there may also find that just a phase of your life that you entered into around that time, you're like emerging from or coming out of now, and like, or things are coming full circle or making sense or connecting or correlating somehow. That is what's coming up, okay? And that's what we're moving towards. And it is on the flip side of that, right, a new beginning, a rebirth, and we're starting like another rung up on the spiral, like on the, you know, whenever you come back to your origin point on a spiral, you're always another level up. So it is a leveling up. It is an upgrade. We are graduating. And also that's where I feel like this week is kind of placing us as well in terms of processing the information, like digesting the wisdom through experiencing, like assimilating what we've been through and like making the gains. It's like we're on like the very last question of like the final exam that we've been like going through, trials and tribulations and all of this, whatever. And we're like at the tail end of it. And these are sort of like the, you know, like the karmic reckoning or the passing the test, like slaying the dragon or whatever that we need to do to like go through that final phase of initiation into that next rung up the spiral, like that next upgrade, that next phase of our own personal evolution. And there's no hiding from it, you guys. So that's my little like I guess interlude into talking specifically about the transits that are underway this week. As I mentioned, we have Mercury entering the sign of Virgo today on Monday. We also have on Thursday the exact Sun-Jupiter square that will play out in both of Mercury's signs. That's why there's such a mercurial energetic dominance happening today, because Mercury is re-entering his home sign of Virgo post retrograde. And we also have both the Sun and Jupiter, both like, you know, the big light sources in the planetary zodiac that are coming into a connection together. Even though it's a square, even squares to Jupiter are not all, you know, super malefic. It could bring about a level of tension, and we'll talk about that as we get through the week. And it could cause situations where things are a bit like overdone or overblown or over the top. But generally, this is going to elevate energy levels. It is going to bring a level of like hope or optimism or excitement somehow, understanding, broadened perspective. So that is also kind of like helping to ease the pressure a little bit, or at least the sort of like maybe bleakness, or things have been very heavy this past couple weeks. I don't know about you guys or how your experiences have been out there, but I certainly have been going through it, and things have been quite, you know, serious and heavy and intense. And this Jupiter Sun square coming in should help to lighten the vibe, lighten the load a little bit, as well as we also have these squares and oppositions from Saturn also now drawing apart and waning as Jupiter moves on and, you know, breaks apart the square to Saturn, and the Sun moves on and breaks apart the opposition to Saturn. So those are like the two dynamics really of why I feel like this week things do chill out a little bit. We have both like just not a lot of transits happening. You know, we've got Mercury entering Virgo. That's a bit of a vibe shift. We've got the Sun-Jupiter square. And then when we close out the week on the 16th, we will have Mars squaring the nodes. And that's, you know, in terms of like the significance of transits and the way that things have been playing out lately, Mars squaring the nodes is not like a huge activation as we've been having them. I mean, it's gonna do its thing. It may represent a bit of a turning point. We may feel sort of like up against something that we need to like make a breakthrough in terms of the way that we're acting. It could represent breakthroughs, you know, in and of itself. And we'll talk more about it as we get towards the end of the week and bring up the weekend video and stuff when that will actually be playing out. But other than that, you know, that's really like all we're looking at in terms of major transits happening this week. And then we have the real harsh aspects with the difficult planet Saturn that can, you know, just make our experiences a little bit more challenging. Those are coming apart as well. So, and also that black moon Venus south node transit that was doing its thing last week. I don't know if you guys felt that one. I certainly felt that one as well, in the sign of Libra, especially when the moon came there last Wednesday. That is also separating now. So just a lot of the intensity of everything that we had happening at once. I can't believe I forgot to mention that when I was like talking about the things that played out last week. That black moon Libra moon south node conjunction was something serious, and I'm glad that we've made it through that and we are on the other side of that, and these planets are separating. And again, between that conjunction separating now and the Saturn aspects separating and just the generalized sort of lack of aspects that we have going on like all together this week, there should be a level of intensity or volatility or just like things happening nonstop that does die down and cease a little bit as well, especially to do with the sign themes that we've been dealing with: relationships, business, money, deals, agreements, other people, you know, the Libra strong energy, also Virgo and Pisces energy and Gemini energy that we've had going on. Issues with authority also, if you've been dealing with issues with authority or like rules, regulations, control, like power struggles and stuff like that, those should also begin to sort of wane right now also. Although remember, between now and November, we do still have Pluto transiting back through Capricorn, and that is generally just going to keep sort of like a low grade level of intensity. I feel like intention that's going on and things that have been in place for long periods of time are just going to more and more, we're going to see them be torn down or go through a transition. Major transitions in power playing out between now and November, especially again in terms of things that have been like standing the test of time or like pillars of something for like a very long time. Like there are going to be the downfall of certain things that have been stabilizing or acting as structures in all types of manifestations and all like different expressions and stuff like over between now and December essentially. Okay, so in terms of this week, Mercury entering Virgo, putting the emphasis back on that Virgo energy with the sun there as well, and then the square to Jupiter is also doing that, and of course Jupiter from Gemini, that's also Mercury energy, plans, agendas, schedules, like classes, information, paperwork, form, details, like clarification on things, payments, transactions, lists, busy work, tasks, like back and forth communication, things sort of bouncing back and forth. Also like short trips, commutes, getting things done, like being productive. This is the type of stuff, as I was saying earlier, that's likely to be more highlighted this week, that we're sort of more mentally geared around and focused around, especially after Mercury does re-enter Virgo. And this is likely to just like put us in a place where we're processing a lot of information for one reason or another, wrapping our head around things that maybe have happened over the past week, or catching up on things that maybe like we couldn't do for some reason, or were blocked for whatever reason during Mercury retrograde when things just weren't moving forward to the same degree. Also, now that Mercury is direct, re-entering his home sign of Virgo, and we're thinking more clearly and things are sort of falling back more into place, we could be coming to conclusions. And there's also likely to be an emphasis with the Sun square Jupiter in both of Mercury's signs, and Mercury in his sign of rulership right now. Choices and decisions, like emphasized in a big way. There could be some big choice or decision that we're being faced with as we move through the week this week, coming to conclusions about things that we were up in the air, or we were stuck on, or we didn't have the information enough information to like make a final judgment on something. That could be something that goes on this week as well. Things could also start, of course, you know, clearing up, making more sense, and moving forward as a result of the more linear flow of information that we're dealing with this week. We should gain a level of clarity or understanding that helps things to move forward or progress somehow. And we also have the moon that is actually working with this Gemini Mercury energy as well. After we get through sort of the mid part of our day on Monday to start our week this week, the moon will leave Scorpio and enter Sagittarius, which of course is the polarity to the Gemini energy where Jupiter is right now, who is squaring the sun. So as we move through our week this week and the moon transits through Sagittarius, the moon is actually going to be forming an opposition to Gemini and to the Jupiter and Gemini energy that is obviously involved in that square to the sun, that's bringing up the Mercury stuff as well. So there could be some big news or big information, or even more so like a big realization or something that is like highlighted to us, or something that we discover or figure out that, you know, helps us to maybe make a breakthrough with some type of growth or expansion in some type of a way. This could also represent like big deals or negotiations or something like that. Debates also could be featured here. This is a, you know, Jupiter and Gemini loves to debate, and we've got the square between the sun and this Virgo and energy. This could be debates, this could be arguments that are quite significant somehow, or quite revealing. A level of truth could be coming through with this as well. There could be some type of big revelation that comes through some type of dialogue. And as we move through the week, and actually the next video, that's primarily what we're going to be talking about, is the Sun Jupiter square, because like I said, we don't have like a whole bunch of aspects going on this week, so we will focus more on that on our video for Wednesday into Thursday. But yeah, with the moon transiting through Sagittarius, things that should also make things start to look a bit brighter, start feeling a bit more optimistic. Generally, things should lighten up and just not be so serious and dire and grave and intense and just like heavy maybe as they had been over the course of this past week. Okay, so, you know, of course there's still an element of tension to things. We've got just a really like, the volume is sort of turned all the way up in terms of us being primed energetically for major endings and changes and transitions right now. So that's always going to bring with it some type of element of tension, right? And we've still got, you know, things are still pretty like reverberating in a kind of weird way out there. And they're going to be, we're in eclipse season right now. You know what I mean? Like, we're moving towards a brand new eclipse cycle. Again, I've been talking about this all year. 2024, it's a transition year. It's endings and beginnings. It's coming to the crossroads. It's the point of no return, but also like not necessarily exactly sure how to proceed with what is emerging next. It's just kind of like this point of, I can't go back, but I also don't exactly know how to proceed forward, and like the tension and anxiety and the fears that can result from that as well. But we have a North Node in Aries transit that we are wrapping up right now, guys, and we are going to, by the time that we get to the end of this transit, have found a new level of like courage or strength or passion or motivation within ourselves to, you know, do something on our own, or do something for ourselves, or stand up for ourselves, or, you know, be more like realign with a path that we feel like is more personally authentic somehow. A sense of personal self-empowerment is going to be restored on some level as we move through this period of time, which also would be the necessary outcome of passing some type of major life test and moving up on that greater rung of the evolutionary ladder as well. So upgrades and the sense of self-empowerment that comes with them in terms of re-identifying with our authentic selves and a like authentic truth and stuff like that. Also, the current cosmic mandate for all of us on this personalized individual level, but also as part of this collective experience as we transition into the age of Aquarius, you guys, and you know, everything's sort of being realigned energetically right now. And this is how the manifested byproduct apparently translates in our reality. So this is where we're at as we start our week this week. Big changes are definitely underway. You know, as I've been saying for months, as all of you guys know out there, it is this end of era. type of energy that we're dealing with. And now that we're going into our eclipse season, it's probably likely to be reflected back to us, especially since the eclipse season is really correlating with the last little bit of the Pluto Capricorn transit. So we're sort of like 2006 to 2008, like that period of time until now is very relevant somehow in terms just of those endings and beginnings that are underway and the transitions that are happening, and like what is coming to an end and what we are becoming essentially now. Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see what comes about as we do move through this week and figure some things out, and then move into the eclipse season and, you know, really see these karmic situations maybe play themselves out that have been sort of swirling around, or I don't know, you know, eclipses always have to do with change and ending and karma as well. So powerful times. We definitely can rest assured and say that with a level of confidence. And as we have the moon transiting through Sagittarius, and then also entering the sign of Capricorn later this week and coming into an opposition with Mars, there's likely to be, you know, passions are probably going to be running high. This is a bit of a fired up energy. Elevated energy levels. Again, like I said, there could be tension coming in from, like, in terms of like what we're trying to do and what is required of us to do it, maybe what we need to do, like the level of organization or work that needs to be done in order to produce the result that we are like really aligning ourselves with now. That can have a tendency of being something that is like the struggle or the square represents when we have a Sun square Jupiter energy, or again, it can produce sort of like overblown results or just things being a bit out of bounds. As I said, as we move through the weekend, we'll talk more about this in the video for Thursday. We're going to have the moon opposing Mars, who recently entered the sign of Cancer, and also on the outside of that, we're going to have the Sun Jupiter square going on. So this could be provoking some like big emotional reactions to things. People really could be like on one, you know, as we move through the week. And we should, though, have a better idea of what's going on and be able to sort of like plan and prepare and organize more easily and efficiently now moving through this next couple of weeks. Schedules, routines, like the day-to-day activities and stuff, you know, greater ability to think and focus and get things done. Generally, we should be more logical and like clear-headed, rational, grounded as well. And also interruptions, interference, disruptions, like things interfering with our flow, with our thought processes, with our ability to focus and get things done, that should clear up as well. And let me tell you guys, I certainly am looking forward to that. But, you know, with Mercury now entering the sign of Virgo, joining the sun, like if you have felt like a hot mess, if everything is sort of chaos, if you've literally just been like struggling to stay organized or get anything, again, like get everything done, if you feel like everything's just sort of in disarray, this is the time for that to change. This week, it will get cleaned up, it will get organized, you will be motivated to like get your ducks in a row, you know what I mean? Getting ourselves and our lives and our physical surroundings, you know, files and paperwork, all that type of stuff in order. That's just where the energy is focused this week. So don't be surprised if you find yourself going on a cleaning binge, or, you know, just reorganizing your paperwork, or having to do things that have to do with like details and order and paperwork, or just, you know, fixing things up, getting things like cleaned up, reorganized, reordered. That is, I would say, for sure, with all the Mercury energy, something that we've got going on. Monday specifically, we've got the moon. We start the day, you know how I said the moon is going to enter the sign of Sagittarius like around midday. Before that, the moon is going to be in the sign of Scorpio, and it is going to make an opposition to Uranus, who recently stationed retrograde in Taurus. There could be some shocks and surprises having to do with communication or information that's coming up, like plans not going as expected, a level of clumsiness or like generalized anxiety could be out there as well with the moon opposite Uranus. Uranus gestation, that was another one. I am looking forward to what the times that we have just gone through ultimately lead towards, you guys. I will tell you that, because it has been a bumpy road out there for me, and I know a lot of you have been going through it as well. It's funny, actually, because a lot of times you guys tell me in the comments like your planet placements and stuff. I actually appreciate when you guys do that. It's you wouldn't believe how many of you that tell me what your placements are actually like have placements that are like at the same degrees or like very close to like some of where my natal placements are as well. And being an astrologer for a while, I've come to realize that people, you can see the connections between people, you know, through degree placements and planetary placements, obviously, in charts. And it always is amazing to me, like, how clearly that shows itself in terms of, you know, those of you who gravitate towards my channel. And, you know, on the flip side of that, like my energy that is gravitating towards your energy, and how we actually have like a lot of planets that are at the same degrees. And a lot of you also that don't know each other out there, but that watch my channel, a lot of you also probably have a lot more in common than you realize, because you're having like these same degree placements, and it's really funny and interesting. So when I say that, I'm like vibing with you, because I know that a lot of you are probably dealing with like, you know, not the same, but maybe to a certain extent similar things as what I've been going through. And so I'm just like, you know, we're gonna get through this, and it is going to be a brighter day on the other side, and things are going to fall into place, and things are actually going to work out in a way that's going to bring us like more blessings and fulfillment than perhaps we can see or possibly anticipate right now. I'm kind of getting a little ahead of myself into the tarot reading that we're going to get into in a few minutes. We had a tarot reading come out today. Usually I feel like the tarot is like it usually lines up pretty closely with whatever the astrology message is, but there may just be a need for like a collective message, kind of like of hope right now, because the tarot that is coming out is offering like some very optimistic advice, or just, you know, letting us know that we really kind of don't really have anything to worry about, and we should focus on, you know, maybe we need to focus on the blessings that we're moving into, instead of maybe what we've been navigating through, or where we've been over this past couple of weeks. But anyways, I'm getting off track, and we'll get there and we'll talk about it in a minute. What I mean to be talking about right now is that the moon is going to oppose Uranus, and we've also got all this Mercury emphasis going on. So, you know, plans not going expected. I already said, you know, just generalized anxiety could really be going on out there. A feeling of inner tension or unsettledness with the Mercury Uranus opposition. People emotionally driven also to like say weird things, or things that just kind of like shock you or leave you scratching your head or something. Unexpected reactions to things could be going on as well. And we really want to try to slow ourselves down a little bit. Mercury is a very fast-paced, fast-moving energy, and then the moon opposite Uranus, that can be like really fast-paced, and it can be, you know, kind of clumsy again, like I said. And I don't know, I just feel like we want to pay extra attention, maybe in traffic, try not to rush or get too far ahead of ourselves. This energy could honestly have us all feeling like a little bit neurotic, okay? It's giving that type of vibe as we start the week, like hyper aware and slightly paranoid, and like seeing things maybe through a perception that we haven't before, which could be leading to more questions, but we're feeling more certain about things, and knowing, you know, getting more geared around what we need to do, and feeling maybe motivated to clear some things up or clean some things up somehow. Also, it could be giving the feeling, again, like we're in this kind of pause this week in between the new moon last week and everything that went on with that, and also this eclipse that's coming up, this full moon that we're moving towards next week, like waiting for the next shoe to drop. Like that could be another type of vibe that's coming through right now. Or, you know, also maybe a little bit shell-shocked and just needing to process a lot of information, or assimilate maybe the learning experiences that we've been through over this past period of time. But remember, you know, karmic release right now, at the end of the day, like seeing the true colors of things, like gaining a broader understanding, even if it totally shatters our previously conceived paradigm, which would be right in alignment with the times, right? And the transition of ages, and the breakdown of the old paradigm, and the emergence of the new paradigm. So we are assimilating upgrades right now, you guys. We are making our way up that next rung of that spiral. It's the last question of that final exam before we pass the test and graduate, and everything changes for the better. But this last one, right, it's like requires all we've got to test how far we've come. You know what I mean? I know you do. So that's where I feel like we're at this week. We've got some symbolism, all right, the position of both the sun and the earth. Seek spiritual counsel. Okay, pray this week, you guys. We have the sun at 18 Virgo, 2 girls playing within a Ouija board, and the earth at 18 Pisces. In a huge tent, a famous revivalist conducts his meetings with a spectacular performance. So seeking spiritual counsel, prayer, you know, faith, belief, and asking for guidance and assistance. This is being indicated, you know, as a good remedy perhaps to whatever we're navigating through this week. We've got Mercury at 1 Virgo. That Sabian symbol is in a portrait. The best features of a man's head are artistically emphasized. So another indication of emphasis on the head, the thoughts, the mind, and what is being highlighted to us, what is very prominent and what we're seeing there in those realms. We also have Venus at 14 degrees of 14 degrees of Libra. That Sabian symbol is in the heat of the noon hour, a man takes a siesta. So I feel like that's also sort of indicating a little bit of break, a little bit of pause, you know, need to chill out a little bit, step back from the fire, you know, just kind of take a deep breath and maybe give ourselves an opportunity to relax and to process everything that has been going on with this very busy energy over this past week. So this week, you guys, things straighten out a little bit. We figure some things out. We gain some clearer understanding or some clarity, right? Perspective. What's going on, what's been going on, and what we need to focus on now and moving forward. And then, like I said, also like clearing things up, cleaning things up, reorganizing, reordering, getting our ducks in a row, getting all of our situations straight. So that's what I have to say, you guys, about the astrology. Very just like Mercury oriented week, especially along the Virgo lines, but also with Gemini in there as well. And then the moon transiting through Sagittarius, it is lifting us up. The glass is going to look a little bit more full as we move through the week. And there could be some like positive opportunities and stuff that are presenting themselves this week as well, which is a nice transition into our tarot message for today, actually, because, I mean, look at the cards that we had coming out. We've been in all of this Black Moon, Libra, South Node, like karmic reckoning, karmic ending, fears, worries, insecurities, doubts, like seeing, you know, people's demons unleashed, right? Like seeing people's true colors and like what it means for everything, and maybe like put in situations where we're having to, you know, face fears or something like that. Like that's been the type of vibe that we've had going on as a part of this test phase that we're in right now, as a part of our personal upgrades. But when I asked about the energy for Monday and starting our week this week and what we needed to know, these were the cards that came out. The 10 of Cups and the Empress, which is like the best that you could get, like beauty and like true like fulfillment. It's, you know, the 10 of Cups, this is an energy that is all about like true emotional fulfillment and connection and love and togetherness and like harmonization with what truly like feeds and nourishes our soul on its like highest and most all-encompassing and ultimate levels. And then we've got the Empress, which is obviously the Empress, like the queen of creativity and nurturing and abundance and receptivity. This is like, and then on the back of the deck, even we have the 7 of Cups, which is all about like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like there's so much up in the air. Like there's so many options or scenarios or possibilities that could play themselves out. Like some look, you know, nice and some look scary and awful. And I just don't know what to choose or which way it's going to go. And I'm feeling like this is all like disoriented and, but it's telling us, you guys, like, with an outcome of whatever the 7 of Cups energy is, like not knowing what to do, being confused, maybe being a little bit delusional, not knowing how the scenario is going to play out, it's telling us that really like we have nothing to worry about. Like the outcome couldn't be better, honestly. Like whatever we are like realigning with in terms of what we want to create or what we want to produce or what we want to birth, or even like the rebirth process, because the Empress is all about this, or is also about the energy of birthing things and fertility and creation. It's like whatever we're creating, whatever we're birthing, whatever we're renewing, like in and of ourselves right now, or bringing into the fruition in the world, like it's on a path to fulfillment and to good things happening and to positive outcomes and to, you know, again, like this sense of like inner harmony that is like filling us up on and sustaining us on these like deep emotional levels in alignment with like our higher self and like our soul purpose and stuff like that. Like this is a tremendously positive outcome for whatever like caught in between, or like confusion, or like not knowing how things are gonna go. So I mean, choose, like this is saying, like if you're in a situation where you have a bunch of options, you know, and one of them seems like it's too good to be true, but you feel like it's possible, this is saying that it actually is possible, and like the outcome is going to be, that's what it's saying. Okay, the outcome is going to be something that is like very beautiful and productive and fertile and positive, and like bring in an ability to receive like tremendous levels of abundance as well. The Empress, this is that Venus energy, which is also interesting because also after we have the incoming square between the Sun and Jupiter, and Venus are going to come into an air sign trine together, and the trine between Jupiter and Venus next to the conjunction I cannot get my words out today. I don't know what my problem is, but we're gonna persevere through it, you guys. Okay, so anyways, don't worry, okay, because whatever like fears that we're facing right now, and it's interesting too because we have had that black moon south node Libra situation happening with Venus there in the sign of Libra, which is also the Empress energy. That's also the feminine energy. Don't be afraid, you guys. Don't worry. Everything is going to have somehow a more abundant and fulfilling outcome than maybe we could have imagined or anticipated. Yeah, so that's the tarot message. So things are looking good. And I was saying also the trine between Jupiter and Venus, aside from the conjunction between Jupiter and Venus, this is one of the most benefic, positive, success-oriented energies in all of astrology, and it's happening in air sign. There could be some really good news or some really big opportunities that are very fertile and abundant that are coming up, and that is also what the tarot cards are indicating. So have no fear, you guys. We may be in a period of time right now where things are a bit confusing, disorienting, don't know what's happening, don't know what's going on, don't know what to do, but the tarot card is saying, so for, at least for some of you guys out there, there's going to be a better outcome to whatever's gone on than you had seriously like thought possible or anticipated, or maybe you did. Maybe you always knew that the good outcome was where you're going to, but those are some really, really good cards and a really positive scenario that is being described there. So that's what I have to say about the tarot message for today, you guys. We are going to get one more card now. We're going to draw a synchronicity card. God, Spirit, Universe, what is one additional piece of guidance, advice, feedback, information that we can use as we're moving through oh, okay, well. And our card for today says, change your thoughts, which is... which has been the theme of basically our entire report today. We've been talking about how we're probably going to figure some things out and gain some clarity and some, you know, broadened perspective, and things are going to start making more sense, and we're going to be able to, you know, take some action to make some choices or decisions. And our feedback from universe right now, our advice from God, Universe, Great Spirit is change your thoughts, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it. Isaiah 55:11. Oh, this is interesting, okay? Whatever seed you plant will come back to you in its fruit. If you plant a bitter seed, you will get a bitter fruit. Sweetness will beget sweetness. Likewise, flavor your thoughts and your speech with sweetness, that you may dwell in a sweet life. Holding to your present thoughts will bring you unhappiness. And maybe that's what this tarot message is about as well. Like, we need to keep our eye on the prize, you know what I mean? Like, we need to maintain the vision and the direction and the inward momentum, you know, maybe that has been accumulating over this past couple of months as we've been going through these changes and trying to figure out, you know, maybe where we were gearing ourselves next or who we were becoming next. And now we have this interference that is lifting, and we are on the precipice of like going through these changes. And maybe this is just reminding us also to sort of like keep our eye focused on what we want to grow and the element of like fulfillment that's associated with that. And then our message here is saying that if we keep our focus on, you know, sweetness will beget sweetness, if we keep our focus on the positive and on the growth and, you know, framing things mentally in a way that is to our benefit and not to our detriment, that is going to accelerate our momentum towards this Empress 10 of Cups energy, towards dwelling in the sweet life, which is what this card is talking about. So holding to your present thoughts will bring you unhappiness. We need a mental shift going on also in reorienting ourselves towards like a growth mindset. I think this is also indicating. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. A message from the stars, a message from the cards. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would enjoy this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments. I'm so grateful for your presence here. I really appreciate you guys. I look forward to what you have to say. And if you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about, as always, please let me know in my comment section below. I truly value and appreciate you guys. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I generally post images of these boards linked in my description box below. And come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. We are going to have more astrology to get into. Of course, as I've stated, we're going to be talking about the square that we have playing out between the Sun and Jupiter and all that might be bringing to us as we move through this week and head into our eclipse season and towards the full moon in Pisces that we've got coming up next week. So I will be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it, you guys. I will see you next time. And until then, have a beautiful start to your week. Bye, guys.